Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and we're ready for October 25th's lesson in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students, Lesson 298 out of the original edition. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. Oh, we want to make sure we get that one. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. Matter of fact, you can tie that right into your formula for salvation and say, like we did yesterday, forgiveness is the only gift I give because it is the only gift I want, and everything I give myself. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. You can just pick it right on up. From that point, just say, okay, I need to look for external gratitude and lavish thanks, is what he says at one place. Remember, we went through that in our workbook. So we're supposed to be experts at looking for things to be thankful for and expressing it, thanking God for his gift to us. Let's read it now. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear, and thus am I restored to my reality at last. All that intruded on my holy sight, forgiveness takes away. All that intrudes upon my holy sight is that all that intruded on my holy sight, forgiveness takes away. And I draw near the end of senseless journeys, mad careers, and artificial values. I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that in that alone I will be saved, sure that I go through fear to meet my love. I'm going to go through the fear, but remember, it's just because you're seeing things out of kilter with truth, because there's never anything to fear. And we don't need to be even afraid of fear. We'll get to where we can smile at it and laugh at ourselves more often. Father, I come to you today because I would not follow any way but yours. You are beside me, certain is your way, and I am grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from everything that would obscure my love for God my Father and his holy Son. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. I love it in that prayer when he says, I am grateful to you. I am grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from everything that would obscure my love for God my Father and his holy Son. So I'm grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from every thought, you might think of it that way, from everything, from every thought, from everything that would obscure my love for God, my Father, and his holy Son. Remember, you don't want anything to obscure your ability to see and feel the love of God in everything you see. Let that be your guide. Let it lead you. That's the one voice you want to hear. All right. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. Let's take a look now at in Chapter 8, The Journey Back. We're ready for the third section called The Rationale for Choice. If you want to follow along with me as you turn in there, let me tell you about where I'm sitting. These Shumacs, we've talked about them before, but you know, I like them a lot because they're always like the first thing to turn red in the fall. I know that's kind of maybe a funny reason to like something, because I don't much drink the tea. We've made tea out of the berries. Let me show you the berries here. I heard that there was some good nutrients in it. There's been health lines that talks about how that, what did it say? That many nutrients and antioxidants in the compound, or antioxidant compounds are found in them. Early research suggests that it may help in blood sugar control and relieve muscle pain that's brought on by exercise. That's kind of, anyway. There's three different types of well, I found three different possibilities around here, and I want you to know these. There's the winged sumac, which I think is what these are, Ruscopolinum, and then there's also the Rus tafina, which is the staghorn sumac, and then there's also poison sumac, which is Toxicodendron vernix. So, and it does look somewhat similar. So, be aware, do your due diligence in identifying things. Don't just go putting things in your mouth that you're not sure about. And make sure you understand what you're doing and that it's good for food and medicine before you go into ingesting something. I might eat something, that somebody else might be affected with too. So, always just taste a little bit of something at the very most. But even that, better just to be sure. Better to be sure, okay? I found this on wildflower.org about these berries, and look at all those berries in there. And you can make, I've put those in boiling water and makes the juice kind of like lemonade. And I've heard it's malic acid. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't do the research this time to figure out what all's in it. I just was showing it because we need to start seeing the beauty around us, and the fall colors coming on. So we'll do some observing of beauty. Anyway, it said in wildflower.org that many birds and deer and other wildlife feed on the seeds for winter food. Deer also eat the twigs. Anyway, that's your sumac. Let's read now on paragraph 3, the rationale for choice. There is a rationale for choice. Only one teacher knows what your reality is. If learning that is the purpose of the curriculum, you must learn it of him. Okay, wow. The ego does not know what it is trying to teach. It is trying to teach you what you are without knowing it. The ego is expert at what? What's he an expert in? Confusion. It does not understand anything else. Oh my goodness. So the ego is expert in confusion and does not understand anything else. Remember, the ego is that concept you built on the idea that you're separate, that you're not part of the whole of everyone and everything. Anyway, let's keep going. As a teacher, then, it is totally confused and totally confusing. Okay, as a teacher, then it is totally confused and totally confusing, even if you could disregard the Holy Spirit entirely, which is quite impossible. You could learn nothing from the ego because the ego knows nothing. So to think you could ever be without the Holy Spirit's guidance, that's impossible. Keep that in mind. Let that be sure that heals your deepest needs in that question. Even if you could disregard the Holy Spirit entirely, which is quite impossible, you could learn nothing from the ego because the ego knows nothing. Let's listen to the one voice that knows us, that knows God, knows truth. Paragraph 9. Is there any possible reason for choosing a teacher such as this? Does the total disregard of anything it teaches make anything but sense? Is this the teacher to whom a son of God should turn to find himself? The ego has never given you a sensible answer to anything. Simply on the grounds of your own experience with the ego's teaching, should not this alone disqualify it as your future teacher? Let's read those two sentences again. The ego has never given you a sensible answer to anything. Oh, God. Simply on the grounds of your own experience with the ego's teaching. Should not this alone disqualify it as your future teacher? Yet the ego has done more harm to your learning than this alone. Learning is joyful if it leads you along your natural path and facilitates the development of what you have. Okay? This says learning is joyful if it leads you along your natural path and facilitates the development of what you have. When you are taught against your nature, however, you will lose by your learning because your learning will imprison you. Your will is in your nature and therefore cannot go against it. So if you're looking at your nature upside down, it might appear like you're going against it initially, but really you're just realigning with your true nature, which is joy, which is peace, which is invulnerability, which is connected unity with everything. Paragraph 10. The ego cannot teach you anything as long as your will is free, because you will not listen to it. Okay, there you go. There's how you don't listen to the ego. By having, it says the ego cannot teach you anything as long as your will is free, because you will not listen to it. Who would listen to an imprisoning thought when he felt the freedom of God within his soul? It is, and your own freedom. That's your freedom. You share it with God as a son. It is not your will to be imprisoned, because your will is free. That is why the ego is the denial of free will. It is never God who coerces you, because he shares his will with you. His voice teaches only his will. But that is not the Holy Spirit's lesson, because that is what you are. The lesson is that your will and God's cannot be out of accord, because they are one. Remember, we're taking the journey without distance. We're going to come back to that place where we realize we've always been connected with God, and we just dreamed a dream, and we're asleep a while, and now we're waking up from the dream. This is the undoing. Okay, the lesson is that your will and God's cannot be out of accord, because they are one. This is the undoing of everything the ego tries to teach. It is not then only the direction of the curriculum which must be unconflicted, but also the content. Okay, wow, is that ever beautiful? All right, let's go on and take a look now at our I Love You, Father, and I Love Your Son's reading, which is What is the Real World? The real world is a symbol like the rest of what perception offers, yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witnesses of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses. So they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found. The real world holds a counterpart for each unhappy thought reflected in your world, a sure correction for the sights of fear and sounds of battle which your world contains. The real world shows a world seen differently, through quiet eyes and with a mind at peace. Nothing but rest is there. There are no cries of pain and sorrow heard, for nothing here remains outside forgiveness. And the sights are gentle. Only happy sights and sounds can reach the mind that has forgiven itself. What need has such a mind for thoughts of death, attack, and murder? What can it perceive surrounding it but safety, love, and joy? What is there it would choose to be condemned? And what is there that it would judge against? The world it sees arises from a mind at peace within itself. No danger lurks in anything it sees, for it is kind, and only kindness does it look upon. The real world is a symbol that the dream of sin and guilt is over, and God's Son no longer sleeps. His waking eyes perceive the sure reflection of his Father's love, the certain promise that he is redeemed. The real world signifies the end of time, for its perception makes time purposeless. The Holy Spirit has no need of time when it has served his purpose. Now he waits but that one instant more for God to take his final step, and time disappeared, taking perception with it as it goes, and leaving but the truth to be itself. That instant is our goal, for it contains the memory of God. And as we look upon a world forgiven, it is he who calls to us and comes to take us home, reminding us of our identity, which our forgiveness has restored to us. We've been restored to our identity by our forgiveness, our quick practicing of it. As soon as we feel the loss of peace, we immediately latch on to forgiveness and say to ourselves, I just must have thought a thought that God doesn't think. What was it? We can let it go. Claim it and let her go. Look at it briefly so you know what you just did, but don't hang on to it any longer than what you need to shudder a moment and let it go, because you don't need that. We want to live in the kingdom of joy, and if there's still some ideas you're holding, which likely there are, well, you want to go back and just put out those little misperceptions and be gentle on yourself and be thankful that now you see it. You don't have to be that way any longer. Okay, I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. And I just said that one over and over in my meditation this morning. Just over and over. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted. My gratitude to what? To all, to everything, to God, to myself, to my brother. My gratitude permits my love, the one love, the love of God, the love of Will, the love of you, the love of everyone. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. We don't want to have to keep having fear come to us and saying we're unworthy or that we've messed up. We just want to practice our forgiveness and then stay firmly in the place of the miracle mind place where you come to with forgiveness, and you stay in that place with gratitude. Lavish thanks. Be much thankful for life, for awakening, for being. Be thankful. Be thankful. And see it in every one of your brothers and sisters and in yourself. See it in all creation. See the reason to be thankful in everything. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. And thus am I restored to my reality at last. All that intruded on my holy sight, forgiveness takes away. And I drew near the end of senseless journeys, mad careers, and artificial values. I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that in that alone I will be saved, sure that I go through fear to meet my love. I accept instead what God establishes as mine, sure that in that alone I will be saved, sure that I go through fear to meet my love. And the prayer says, Father, I come to you today because I would not follow any way but yours. You are beside me. Certain is your way. And I am grateful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from everything that would obscure my love for God my Father and His Holy Son. I'm grateful for your holy gifts. I'm grateful, I'm thankful for your holy gifts of certain sanctuary and escape from everything that would obscure my love for God my Father and His Holy Son. All my brothers and sisters, my Father's Holy Son. So anything that obscures that love for your Holy Father and His Holy Son, well then let that be what your forgiveness restores you to. And then once you've been restored, which is instantly, give thanks for your restoration. And you'll be smiling all the time. We'll be helping each other to smile and laugh. We'll see in each other the reflection of God. All right, so until tomorrow, I love you, Father, and I love your Son. And you might just say to yourself, and maybe even write it down on your card, I did, my gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. So I'm going to think about it all day today. I love you, Father, and I love your Son. My gratitude permits my love to be accepted without fear. Everything that would obscure my love for God my Father and His Holy Son, I want to have my mind freed of anything that would obscure my love for God my Father and His Holy Son. And be alert and awake, and that's exactly what will happen. You'll just feel yourself lose a little joy and peace, and you go up. Just thought a thought that obscured the love of God my Father and His Holy Son. So until tomorrow, I love you, Father, and I love your Son.